after the touchdown. Cook now to kick this one away. Well, from deep in the end zone, he's going to bring this out. But ultimately cannot get this out to the 25-yard line as he's dropped at the 23. The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. And, Charles, if the season ended today, and it's not going to, we still have December left. We're only in November. But they would be a wild card team. And that's great. They'd be in the playoffs, but you know they're trying to bump up to be one of those division leaders.
That guarantees you at least one home game in the playoffs, and that's what you're really seeking. But there also isn't much margin for error for this team, right? Because right where they're sitting, a two-game losing streak could have them out of the playoffs, so they've got to make sure they continue to keep the momentum going.
Absolutely. There's some sharks smelling blood in the water behind them. He couldn't get away. He'll wind up losing a dozen yards, a 12-yard loss, and it brings up third.
Well, they've been fighting and scratching and clawing for that first sack in the game, and it turns out to be a big one. Not just a short one right there behind the line. First one they get, 10-plus yards, and the guy who has the legs to escape most of these.
Got his man complete over the middle. That's Edwards. Well, we looked at each other right when he flinched. We knew that that flag was coming.
Yeah, offsides, easy call, mark off the 5, and keep it moving.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. He's got his man on the crossing route. From the 34 now, here's 1st and 10. To throw, it's Carr. And that's caught. It's Bryan Edwards. And he's brought down here just outside of the 20. A big-time play there for New Orleans. 45 yards. After one, 7-3 the score on EA Sports. So the big play gets him all the way down to the outskirts of the red zone here for 1st and 10. Here's Carr to throw. It's Edwards again. And out of bounds all the way down at the 3. He's been a one-man wrecking crew these last couple of plays. This time 18 more and a first down. Jet sweep. Carr backs it forward. And he is in for the score. Touchdown, New Orleans. Bryan Edwards with touchdown number 7 on the year. And the Saints are able to move back in front. Lutz good on the extra point. And the lead is now 10-7. The ball upright on the tee, and the Saints kick team booms it away. Pulls it in at the 13. Now a hit and a loose football. And this is picked up by the Saints. And they will take over at the 29-yard line. So problems there on the return, very costly, not what you need when you've just surrendered the lead.
Not at all, because this now has a chance to really snowball on them quickly. Their offense was on the sidelines talking about getting on the field and getting that score back.
Carr now on 1st down. That's complete to his running back, Kamara. And they're going to get this down to about the 17-yard line here.
One of my old teammates called me the other day when he was watching the game. He's like, man, Trying to watch an NFL game and trying to account for their passing game? That's difficult. And just when you think you get everything covered, here comes a back out of the backfield. And in this case, he picks up a first down.
Carr now on first down. And he'll find Moreau here. 2 yards on the pickup there. And that's going to bring up second down.
Got to give credit where it's due. Really nice defense on that play. The pitch and catch was successful, but not any run after it.
Throwing again on second down. Carr, touchdown! Bryan Edwards with his second touchdown of the game, number 8 on the season, as his guys are able to extend their lead. So they've had 2 drives, and he's had the 2 receiving touchdowns.
And how about a game plan where you decide to force feed or feature someone, and it works? First 2 drives, as you noted, end up in touchdown passes. I think they're going to keep going to them until the defense makes any kind of an adjustment.
Lutz with the extra point, and his guys will take a 10-point lead. Is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. Out of the end zone comes Johnson. And ultimately he stopped right where he would have been if he had simply gone down to a knee at the 25. Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive. Right now, Charles, it just feels like they're trying to keep pace. They did score the touchdown last time out, but they still trail by double digits here. We'll see if this offense is once again up to the task.
Yeah, and I think that after the last drive, they've gotten pretty revved up, don't you think? Everything they were doing was working pretty well. They go back out there with the same mindset, put the same tempo and the same pace. Still a lot of time left to make something happen in this one.
To throw on second and 10. Lawrence. And this throw incomplete. The defender all over him that time, but it's going to lead to third down. So back-to-back incompletions, and that has him staring at a 3rd and 10. Lawrence. And the pressure gets to Lawrence, and he'll go down. The Jaguars going to go ahead and use their first timeout. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this second quarter. On 4th down, on is Logan Cook to punt. He steps into this one, and this is a rocket. Pulled in at the 24. They'll call that a punt of 59 yards. Tough to do better than that. And the Saints will take over with a first down and 10. Getting set for their next drive, the New Orleans offense. They have to be pleased with the way that they moved the football thus far.
And why wouldn't they be? 2 touchdowns on a field goal in their first 3 possessions. They're playing so well right now, the field goal probably feels like a disappointment.
And he's taken down right at the 45-yard line. A good pickup there, 26 yards. Well, we know he's got the speed there. He needed the speed and the hands. A great catch.
And because of that speed, you have to respect it as a defender. So you have to either play off or make sure you're somehow in contact with him, and he's able to do exactly what you said. Use the speed to his advantage.
That is caught by Olave. Touchdown, New Orleans. And most people think of Derek Carr kind of as a guy who excels throwing the short pass, but he can dial it up when need be. Lutz good on the extra point. And that'll make this a 3-score game now. The lead moves to 17. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And a fair catch signaled for and taken successfully. Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive. These guys definitely hoping for a better showing than their last appearance. They couldn't really even move the football much beyond the shadows of their own goalpost, Charles. We'll see if they can get a bet. He rifles one that's intercepted. Marcus May with a pick. And the Saints will have the football as this is taken up past the 30. And, Charles, it seems like sometimes when you fall down early, there can be a tendency there to try and get it all back in one fell swoop. And that time, that thinking leads to an interception.
And I believe you brought up a really good point there, Brandon, because you're trying to force plays, right? You're trying to get all back in one shot, just as you mentioned there.
And he's going to have to eat this one as down he goes. Buried by multiple defenders on the drive's first play. Man, he got in there so quickly, Charles. What could the offense have done to adjust and account for that?
But what you're hoping is that you figure out and you see and get a clue that maybe there's going to be some pressure coming at you, and you change the blocking schemes. Maybe you go to max protection. The biggest one is maybe you bring your running back in to try and keep you clean. But in that case, that didn't happen. Zero accountability, and a sack resulted.
And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. He had the touchdown earlier. This one's going to get him a first down. They don't need to run another play here before the 2-minute warning. Let's see if they do it anyway. Now a first down carry. It's Kamara. It's a pretty strong running there as he'll take this across the 50 and down to the 44. Another nice gain, 13 yards that time, and another first down. From the gun, it's Carr. And this will be caught by Edwards. And they'll work this down inside the 30. On first down, Carr. Out to the left, that's where the tight end Moreau is. And he's going to be brought down at about the 16.
And what a nice example there of the tight end doing exactly what he needs to do. How about how he worked his way to the outside, made sure he secured the catch, and then anything after that, we count that as a bonus. And indeed, he gets enough for the first down.
Into the red zone, it's Carr. Toward the back corner of the end zone, but he could not get the feet down. This will wind up incomplete. They're going for a receiver there. Already has one touchdown in this first half. A second one not to be.
I like where their headspace is, though. I mean, I really like the thought process, right? You got a guy who's already scored one, right? You want to go back to him, continue the hot hand, and make them adjust to you defensively. I like what they were trying to get done, even though they weren't successful.
That's a big force incompletion there to bring up 3rd and long, and this defense can still salvage a little momentum by forcing them to kick a field goal, because just a few plays ago, they looked like they were headed towards the end zone.
Again, it's Carr. And he's got him. It's caught in the end zone. Touchdown, New Orleans. Making 4 touchdown passes now for Derek Carr. And the Saints continue to pull away here in this first half.
They have really had their way so far in the first half, but they wanted to continue to build on their lead. They know that no lead is safe in this league, so they decided to try their best to get one more as they headed into the half, and they got it done.
The ball upright on the tee, and the Saints kick team booms it away. Out of the end zone comes Johnson. And in hindsight, probably should have taken a knee as he only gets this out to the 16-yard line. Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive. And what do you think goes on here in this situation? If you got the football, you're trailing, you're back in your own territory with just a little time, do you try something?
You're thinking about jump-starting your team, right? You just mentioned they're down. They're trying to get back into the game. But you got to figure, if something goes wrong, you may have put yourself in a spot where you may not be able to come back in the second half. Managing risk, this is a big decision here.
And obviously not fooling anybody here as they stop him behind the line of scrimmage. That'll wind up as a loss on the play, so now they're staring at a 3rd down and 12. see what they have drawn up here. A little bit behind the line. 12 yards needed to gain a first down. On third down, Lawrence. And I think that one might have been intercepted, but he will be ruled out of bounds. So this will go only as incomplete. Here's Logan Cook now to punt this one away. And he gets this away, and look at this. This is a good one. This is taken at the 23. So it's halftime here in New Orleans with the Saints out in front. As we'll get you over to Orlando, where standing by is Jonathan Coachman. He has our EA Sports halftime report. Welcome back. Halftime over. We are ready for quarter number 3. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin. The Jaguars with work to do. They trail here as we are back underway on EA Sports. Out of the end zone comes Johnson. And the decision to bring it out, not a good one, as he's tackled at the 15.
In this position, trying to get back into the game, teams are looking for a spark from their special teams. That's not what they got, though. They got a setback, and they have a long field to cover if they want to try and put points on the board.
Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive. And you have to think, Charles, down 3 scores already, they need to play an almost perfect second half to have a solid chance.
And that absolutely starts with finding some way to put together a touchdown drive here. They need to be smart, fast, efficient, get the ball into the end zone, and do it again multiple times in order to have a chance to win this game.
One play has them up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. They go play action now. Lawrence. He'll take a shot for the end zone. And that is caught. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Well, if they're going to make a game of this in the second half, they need a few big plays to go their way. That's one.
And the way to get it done is to also conserve time. So to your point, that big play right there, now you're not moving the ball downfield, taking time off the clock. You're leaving yourself a better avenue to continue to try and make a comeback.
Lawrence going to look to throw for it. And that's off the mark, incomplete. Popular down near the goal line, quick slant. Nice job there to get in, knock it away.
It was, and one of the other things you're concerned about when you throw that route is to make sure your offensive linemen use their leverage to get the hands of the defensive front down so you can throw it through that little bit of crowd and get it to the receiver. In this event, they did, but a nice play by the defender knocking it away.
The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. And they were terrific in the first half, built up a sizable lead, and it's just been cut into a bit following the opening drive score on the other side. But this is a unit that has to be itching to get the football again.
You can say that again. They've got to be pretty eager because, let's face it, they've had to sit through halftime, then sit on the sidelines and watch that drive. So you can bet that they're saying, let's get on with this. We got to go out there and get some more points.
It looks like a loss of right around 11 there on first down to set them back on second. Well, they're in some hot water now. After that sack, it's 2nd and 21. Now Carr. He'll get this one underneath to Kamara. And way up past the 35 before he's taken down. 22 yards on the catch and run, a first down.
And while we may be looking at the scoreboard, this offense certainly is not, because they're showing no signs of backing down, even with a 3-score lead here in the third quarter. I think they keep taking their shots. They've seen blown leads happen throughout this league. They don't want to fall victim to it themselves.
And they're going to get this up to midfield. From midfield, here's Carr. Oh, he'll look downfield for Kamara. It's caught at the 10. Touchdown, New Orleans. Alvin Kamara, 50 yards. As his guys have opened up a very comfortable lead. Lutz to try to add the PAT. And he's been a busy man, 5 for 5 now as he knocks another one through to extend the lead. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away.
Out of the end zone comes Johnson. And in hindsight, probably should have taken a knee as he only gets this out to the 16-yard line.
Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive.
Well, we haven't exactly been treated to a nail-biter in this one, CD, and if they cannot score here, this one's pretty much all but over.
And he fires one that's intercepted.
Picked off by Alontae Taylor.
And the Saints are going to take over
At their own 30-yard line.
Well, to be blunt, not a whole lot has gone right for this defense in this ball game, but that's something right there. Still in the third quarter. It would take something around miracle territory for a comeback, but maybe that's a start, Charles.
It certainly is, and they're definitely showing that there's some fight still left in them. Hasn't been a banner day, but they're trying their best to put that disappointment behind them and find ways to make plays.
I think it's pretty evident we can say what a difference a week makes. Last week, he ran pretty much wild, didn't he? Did pretty much what he wanted to do. But this one, they've stopped him cold. That, to me, that's good scouting and even better execution.
Yeah, and they stopped him behind the line right there. They obviously watched the tape a few times and made some adjustments. He'll rifle this one deep right side. And that will be incomplete. Tried to dial up the long one way out there, but it'll be third down.
Oftentimes when you're losing a game and the team's still throwing with this kind of a lead, you start playing a little more physically. And they took that opportunity right there to be extremely physical and force that incompletion.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on third down. Now Carr. That's into the hands of Edwards. And he'll be taken down, but not before they reach the 50. 21 yards there on third down.
With the kind of game he's had so far, you had to know that on third down that they would be looking his way, and they did, for big yardage and a first down. I think the defense fell asleep at the switch on that one. I would have doubled him, tripled him, anything to keep the ball out of his hands.
Now this throw caught left side. And he takes this just a few yards shy of the red zone before going out. A good pickup there, 26 yards.
Well, this is an awfully tough route to defend in man coverage because he lines up on the right and then runs a crossing route back to the other side of the field. So as a defender, you're not only trailing him the whole way, you're also looking out for your own guys to make sure you don't get yourself picked off. And then you can't catch.
And he's got it. Touchdown, Saints.
Alvin Kamara
with career touchdown number 91. He joins a group that includes Tony Dorsett and Isaac Bruce, among others.
And the Saints are pouring it on.
Lutz with the extra point. And the lead grows even larger here in the third quarter. The ball upright on the tee, and the Saints kick team booms it away.
Out of the end zone comes Johnson. And they will wrangle him down a couple yards shy of the 30.
Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive.
It's a game that they would rather probably forget about, at least to this point, Charles. And one reason is turnovers. A turnover on the last drive. They had the issue in the first half as well, and that's really, unfortunately for them, helped to put this game out of reach.
And you know they won't want to admit it to themselves, but we know that winning the game is pretty much out of the picture now. So their bottom line is, how do they play it?
He's got it with the 15. It's a big play for the Jaguars. 54 yards.
Now Lawrence.
To the end zone, but it's incomplete.
Another attempt, another incompletion. And when I look at the scoreboard and where we are in this game, it comes to mind that they have to start getting the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Throw it to the guys that maybe can take a short pass and turn it into a long gain or make people miss downfield. They've got to have points. And the guys who can put the ball in the end zone, They're the ones that need to touch the ball.
And he'll get about 4 there as he takes it from the 10 down to 6. Defensively, I think they can smell a stop there right around the 5 here, brings up 3rd.
And I think what they've done is they put doubt in the minds of the offensive guys. What do we do? Because now you don't have a go-to play. Either side they pick, throwing it, running it, it won't be easy.
Now hold everything here. We're going to get a timeout by the offense. It's just their first, so 2 remaining as they burn 1 here in this 3rd quarter. Third and goal, trying to make that scoreboard at least a little more respectable. Lawrence will throw. And he's got it. Touchdown, Jaguars. Calvin Ridley from 6 yards away. And the Jaguars are able to cut into that deficit.
I know the scoreboard says here, but for all those who are playing fantasy football, their scoreboards are different. Points scored could benefit someone.
Oh, and now they're going to fake it. A hit as he throws there, incomplete.
Okay, they went for the fake off of the extra point attempt. It's a long way to go, and they didn't get there. Didn't get it completed successfully. Did someone dare them to do that? Did someone double dog dare them to do that?
Maybe they saw something on film, but do you see something on film when those to try something from the 15 on a PAT? I don't know.
The only thing they needed to see on film there was a snap, a hold, and someone kicking the ball through the posts.
Getting set for their next drive, the New Orleans offense.
Well, this offense, this team, they are rolling right now, Charles. They've scored on 3 straight possessions. You look at the scoreboard, and they pretty much right now got this thing on cruise control.
Yeah, and this is that time of game where you and I have to be prepared, right? Isn't this kind of like that empty the bucket time where you have to go into your blowout material and make sure we have some different things? That's what we're staring at right now, the way this one is going.
They fake the handoff. Now Carr. And he's going to lose yardage here, as they will switch ends as time has run out on this 3rd quarter of play. 1 quarter remains here as we wrap up the week on a Monday night. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Pass protection has been a problem all night long as they come up facing 2nd and a bundle. Another try after the first down sack. Carr.
Oh, that's into a double team, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Andre Sisco. And the Jaguars are going to take over a couple of yards shy of midfield.
Well, this D, particularly the secondary, has been picked apart at points here tonight. They finally, though, get to the quarterback, get a pick.
And we know this about him. He loves night games, loves the spotlight, loves being the center of attention. I will bet you that he ran off the field almost chuckling to himself. They finally got one. They finally got me. He did a fine job there of not hitting him before the ball arrived, and I've got to tell you, you can often mistime that play because of the angles of approach. When you're going to get him, sometimes you panic as well and think, I've got to be there right now. Instead, in this case, timed it perfectly and knocked it free.
An incomplete pass on first down. That leads to a 2nd and 10.
Now Lawrence to throw. He'll get that underneath ETN. And he'll be brought down just shy of the 40. And with this game well in hand, perhaps we are seeing the coverage lighten up a little bit as they got burned there a bit for a first down.
But we certainly know the coach isn't happy along the sideline because he certainly wants them to finish this one out the way they started it. He doesn't want to give up any soft completions, no late points. He wants his lead to stay right where it is.
Lawrence going to get this to ETN. And he's going to be taken down at about the 33. Lawrence going to throw again.
Well, over the middle. It's complete. And this is going to be another first down as the tackle's made at the Saints' 15-yard line. Straight ahead, ETN. He takes us down to about the 12 for a gain of 3.
We know that old expression, it's not my night. It hasn't been his so far. I don't know if the legs are a little bit heavy. Sometimes having to hang out all day and play doesn't exactly play to your advantage, but it's been a tough go for him.
And every time he looks up, somebody's there defensively. That was the same case on that play. Quick hitter here. It's complete. Just a gain of a couple there. And it brings up 3rd and 5 now.
They'll need 5 on this play to move the sticks. From the gun on 3rd down, Lawrence.
Flushed out right. And that is incomplete. Well, I kind of got to give him credit. Another incompletion there, yes, but he's still trying to make plays outside the pocket.
Yeah, he's been hemmed in for much of the game. How about him getting outside there? And that's what you want to see from your quarterback. He's not giving up on this game, so every other player on the field has to say to himself, I can't give up either.
Here we go. Got to have it. Lawrence.
And he's got his man out of the slot. Complete. The Jags come up empty on 4th down. And the Saints will have the football back. Well, they were looking for a clutch play there on 4th. Unable to come up with it.
How about that defense, though, huh? How about that D?
Yeah, momentum swing.
And, you know, I remember playing how much 4th downs were emphasized. You know, because, as you said, it's a momentum play. It's also a big test for you. You know, if people are going to go for it on 4th down, they believe you're not up to the challenge. You want to show them differently.
A 3-yard loss to start the drive. They'll look to make that up and then some on 2nd and 13. Here's Carr. He's going to rifle one deep left side.
And this is incomplete. Oh, he looked like he had a pretty good line on that one. That would have been a big play, but he could not pull it in.
I think it's fairly safe to call this game over, but they're still trying to bomb it downfield and add to their lead. Almost makes you start to feel for the defense and root for them a little bit, too.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw.
They'll get this out to Kamara.
And he's got room. And he'll have this past the 30 prior to going out of bounds. A big play there as they get the conversion on 3rd and 13.
And that last throw right there putting him already over 3,000 passing yards now for the campaign.
And given where we are in the season, Brandon, you have to think to yourself, if he stays healthy, I think 4,000's a given. I think 5,000 is not out of the question if he stays hot.
Meanwhile, this one knocked down in the backfield. It's incomplete.
Well, their passing attack, even though that one was incomplete, has been really sharp in this one. It's resulted in a lot of touchdowns, and it looks like they're not going to stop throwing the football until the very end of this one.
Well, that will certainly make everyone involved on offense pretty happy because that gives them all a chance to pad their stats a bit. But as far as the actual need, you and I both know they can just run this clock out because this one, it was over a long time ago.
And out of bounds on the other side of midfield at the 45. 23 yards the pickup there. So in Jacksonville territory now. Here's a 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Carr to throw again. He's going to rifle one deep left side. And he will get into the end zone. It's another touchdown. This thing is ugly.
So still throwing here in the 4th quarter with a pretty sizable lead, and now that lead even more sizable. And if nothing else here, CD, a chance to pile on some stats before this one wraps up, and he did just that.
Brandon, convention tells us it's time for them to get off the gas a little bit, right? But you and I both know the receivers don't want them to because, as you noted, this is their chance to pile on the stats. If they got their way, they try to get every single spot in the depth chart points before this game is over.
Out of the end zone comes Johnson. And only able to get this to the 19, so probably should have opted for the touchback.
Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive.
We certainly had a sense coming in here that these guys were in for a tough one on the road. That has been how this ball game has played out. They trail big as we continue. Oh, that's the third interception for Lawrence. Picked off by Alontae Taylor. And the Saints are going to get this back to their own 34-yard line. Well, they've got the huge lead. Now they have another interception on the defensive side. Seems like everything they touch in this one, Charles, turns to gold.
And they have to be awfully happy right there to get what appears to be one more for the road. It helps seal away one of their best efforts of the season.
Blitz coming, and down he goes. It looks like a loss of right around 11 there on first down to set him back on second. Just 2 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter of what has been a one-sided affair. So it's Saints football as we get you reset. They've got a second down now as they look to salt this one away. Trying to run down some clock with Kamara. They get 2 yards back, but they're going to need a lot more than that here on third down. And now with 1:52 to go, we get another pause in the action. A timeout here defensively.
That's it. That's what you want. Straight ahead positive gain. Just keep that clock ticking.
On third and long, it's Carr.
Got an open man. It's Olave. And he's going to be out of bounds inside the 25-yard line.
A big-time play there for New Orleans. 54 yards. So barely time to catch our breath. Here's first and 10 just outside the red zone. Carr going to throw here. Nowhere to turn this time, and he goes down. Sacked back at the 29.
Chad Muma
able to drop him that time for his second sack of the evening.
I don't know what else can be said about this pass rush. They have been sensational. CD, that is now 6 sacks for them.
And how many times do we talk to offensive coordinators and they say a sack is a result of everyone on offense not doing their job? But let's be honest about this one. This is the offensive line unable to counter the pass rush. They've been teeing off all game long.
They get 14 back, but it leads now to a third down.
In search of 4 yards here to pick up the first down.
Here's Carr to throw. And this will be caught. And the carnage continues. It's another touchdown.
Well, this is long since over, and some might see this as overkill. But remember, this is a team that puts on the hard hats, grabs the lunch pail, and tells everyone, we're going to give you a full 60 minutes. And that's exactly how they're playing this one out.
What's good on the extra point? And this one was over a while ago as they just add on to that big lead. The ball upright on the tee, and the Saints kick team booms it away.
Out of the end zone comes Johnson. And the decision to bring it out, not a good one, as he's tackled at the 15.
In this position, trying to get back into the game, teams are looking for a spark from their special teams. That's not what they got, though. They got a setback, and they have a long field to cover if they want to try and put points on the board.
Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive.
Where we stand right now in the fourth quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You would have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are already starting to think about, okay, how do we put this behind us and get better for the next time out? This, they'll use as motivation for the rest of the time that they play to hopefully never be in this type of situation again.
So after the incompletion on first, now second and 10.
Here's Lawrence.
He's got a man. That's caught. Left sideline. And with just inside of 10 seconds to go, they'll burn their final timeout. 9 seconds left.
When they've needed a play this year, he's certainly been the guy to deliver it. As this season has gone on, he's been awfully consistent and sometimes spectacular.
Now Lawrence on first down.
Eluding the pressure right. And that is incomplete.
That's coverage you'd expect to see in a tie game late. Not in a lopsided game like this. They are not letting up.
A final shot now for Lawrence.
One last shot at the end zone. And that is incomplete. Oh, he had it and dropped it. That is an unforced error there that takes away what could have been a touchdown. So this one, a victory here for New Orleans. And when you break it down, this was just a thoroughly dominating performance.
And I truly thought that we'd have a tight game coming into this one. I think you felt the same way based on our conversation.